I'm gonna be doing today's video a little bit differently because I was checking my comments because you guys already know YouTube is like a bottom priority of my life, so I don't really check comments like that. Um, but I've been semi-active on YouTube lately, so I was checking my comments and I came across this conversation on a video that I did a month ago called the path of high resistance. And I talk about the path of least resistance all the time, and what happens if you follow the path of least resistance. You know, it'll lead you to basically having a more difficult life because you'll be walking through life blind. You know, oblivious to all that's happening around you because you want to live in a fantasy world. And the guy in Mount Madden was asking, where does the path lead to? Now, he didn't specify which path he was talking about, so I said, well, the path of least resistance leads to destruction. So then he countered with, what about the path of high resistance? Now, YouTube, for whatever reason, doesn't actually alert you to when people reply to your comments. So I never saw that he asked this question, or I would have made this video a lot sooner. Now, and this is what I mean, right? This is probably going to be my most controversial video to date. Yes, more controversial than any of the shit I've did in the past with the video game stuff because, video games, they're just video games, right? All these life lessons apply even to video games. I'm the number one player on Pirate 101 because I apply natural law even to video games. And I'm consistently a top 1% player in all the competitive games that I play. But even more controversial than the video game rants I made in the past, because I'm about to go into some real shit in this one. Because to answer his question honestly is going to require breaking a few things down. Now, people that follow the path of least resistance, they're blind to the world around them. So, and I'm sure these guys don't mean any harm. I'm sure they don't intentionally mean to mislead him. But as you guys are gonna see from the next pictures, the whole conversation starts to derail into a religious theological debate. And again, I'm sure they don't intend to mislead the guy, but it's essentially the blind trying to teach the blind. Now, some religions outright admit that, like Christianity, for example, Christians basically admit that they're sheep and that the Lord is their shepherd, and that, the sheep are blind and they require aid because they don't know anything, so they're placing the trust in their deities to lead them. And the problem with that is when you place your full trust in any one specific thing, you open up yourself to consequences. I always talk about this. As humans, we have free will, and each of our decisions lead to consequences. For whatever reason, most people don't want to accept that each of their actions has consequences. They think that the laws of the universe around them does not apply to them. Now, if you place your trust fully into somebody that actually does have all the answers and they never mislead you, then you got lucky and they will guide you to the right path. But this usually doesn't happen. And the reason this video is going to be controversial is because I'm going to break down the word religion and I'm going to break down the word belief. Now, I already said in the title of the video that the root word of belief is lie, but before I get into that, I want to explain the consequences of fully trusting any specific person or any specific thing to be the source of all your information. Now, I dated a chick named Alyssa, earlier this year and most of last year, right? And I noticed that she became solely dependent on me for information. And I tried to basically give her a warning. Like, when you depend solely on one person for information, even if they're wise and intelligent and they do have all the answers, if you ever get on their bad side, they could start to intentionally deceive you. They could start to intentionally mislead you. And her reply was, "Oh, well, you never lie, so I don't need to worry about you deceiving me." Because in her mind, because I'm an honest person and because I don't lie, even if she got on my bad side, she wouldn't have to worry about me deceiving her. And here's the problem with that line of thought, right? I'll explain it this way. So in high school, I read a book. I got a book called Morals and Dogma for my graduation slash birthday present, right? Me and my mom, we went to a bookstore. Because there were specific books I was looking for. I never thought I would ever see Morals and Dogma for sale in a bookstore. I never thought that would be possible, right? Because keep in mind, this was back in an era where you couldn't just order any book you wanted, through Amazon, etc. But even then, there's some books that I want now that can't really be found anywhere. At the time, Morals and Dogma was one of those books. So I saw it in the store and I got it. And the author of Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike, he's considered like one of the grandfathers of that specific organization. And he says in chapter 3 of Morals and Dogma that we will intentionally deceive most of our members, 95% of them. We will teach them false meanings of symbols and teach them incorrect meanings to the rites of passage and whatnot, and we will intentionally lead them into the wrong direction, the opposite direction. And his reasoning for doing this, he says, because how dare they come to us for free information? How dare the sheep come to us for free lunch, essentially? We learn this stuff on our own. Yet they come to us and demand free lunch. So they deserve to be deceived. And this is the message that I try to get across in all of my videos. Listen to the wiser men around you, but never become fully dependent on them. Because if they ever choose to deceive you, if you blindly trust them all willy-nilly, you'll never be able to spot it, right? I made a video called How to Tell When People Are Lying. I'll put that in the description below. But essentially, listen carefully to what people tell you. If it contradicts, it's not true. The truth never contradicts. Now, that's going to lead me into the main points of my video. Now, the comment above, the person was commenting that taking the path of high resistance will lead to destruction for most people. Because, wait, let me actually pull the screenshot up. I don't have it memorized. Will lead to destruction for most people because most people would never have a chance to come close to the gates at all. Yes, there is a chance, and taking the path of least resistance means there isn't a chance, but taking the path of high resistance would arguably be more, if not completely destructive for people, than taking the path of least resistance. And I'm not even gonna lie. When I first read that comment, I'm thinking, what the fuck is this guy talking about? The path of high resistance is always the right path. Because you at least have a chance to learn the truth, and you have a chance for your life to be saved in a sense, right? Versus if you take the path of least resistance, it's guaranteed you'll be destroyed. But then I had to stop and analyze further what he was saying. Half of the reason I broke up with Alyssa is because I realized that the path wasn't for her, right? She even admitted it herself the last time we talked, that the path is too hard. And it never really dawned on me until I read this comment, but I was thinking, well, actually, no, that's not true, because I asked her, I'm like, Were you happier in life when you knew nothing? And her reply was, she tried to basically avoid the question. Her reply was, I'm never happy, so it doesn't even matter. And this comment is essentially right. Um, the powers that be have the philosophy that sheep can't handle the truth. That's why they must be deceived. That, religion flat out says this. I mean, Christianity, especially, again, worshippers of Christ are called sheep because they don't know anything, they can't know anything, they can't handle the truth, and they're never going to be told the truth. So they're led by their shepherd to a ditch, essentially. Now, to answer the original question, where does the path of high resistance leads to? I'm going to need to further break down the path of least resistance. So, let's get into the nitty gritty of the video. The root word of belief is lie. So, I'm going to take these pictures off the screen real quick. Now, I'm not a fancy editor, fancy programmer. I'm not a fancy video maker type of guy. I like to keep my videos simple and straight to the point. And with topics like this, it's hard to get straight to the point because there's a lot of basic information that needs to be covered and broken down first before people can understand the bigger picture. Now, a common argument that I get into people with is that a lot of people believe that they can just take words and make up their own definition for the words, right? One of the people that I clubbed in the 3v3 yesterday, the Sneaky Chris guy, he was a primary example of that. Pirate 101 videos don't get any views, but if anybody wants to watch that 3v3, it's the last video I uploaded. And it was essentially a clash of people that live in an illusion, people that live with beliefs, people that think that opinions trump the truth, versus people like me and my friends that only care about the truth. Needless to say, they got slaughtered badly. I mean, it was a pretty badass whooping. And I was talking to some people after the match, and one conversation I was trying to stress, because I got angry at somebody that, that I was close to. And I blocked her, you know what I'm saying? She thinks I blocked her over a dictionary argument. The thing is, and it's something that most people just won't ever comprehend. Alright? You have the truth, and the truth is absolute. 2 plus 2 equals 4. That is the truth. You can believe that 2 plus 2 equals 5, but you would be wrong. Your belief would be false. It can be your opinion that 2 plus 2 equals 5, but your opinion would be wrong. We're taught in school that opinions can never be wrong, and that's untrue. We're taught that beliefs can never be wrong, even though the root word of belief is lie. I typed the word up on the screen for you guys and broke it down by prefix, root word, and suffix. And in order to talk about where the path of high resistance leads, first we have to break down exactly what that means. The path of least resistance is having beliefs, never questioning what you're told, believing that everything will be fine as long as you stick to your beliefs, as long as you don't deviate from your opinions, right? I was going to the gym one day, and I got stopped by a Christian woman. And she says something along the lines of, do you want to be saved and ensure you go to heaven? Now, I wanted to tell the bitch to fuck off, but I figured I would humor her to see where the conversation would go, right? And she basically wrote some shit down on a piece of paper, said, keep this paper with you, follow Jesus, accept God into your life, and just like that, without doing anything, you'll be saved forever. Just like that, effortless, right? No resistance, no hardship, no lessons to be learned, just follow Jesus and you'll go to heaven, right? I mean, easy, right? The path of least resistance. If you follow the path of least resistance, you will have an easy life. But you'll face the consequences of having an easy life. There are many things you will never experience, and there are many things you will never learn. For people that play video games, right? Like Pirate 101, for example. The people that I clubbed yesterday, until they abandon their beliefs, they will never know what it's like to be a top player on a video game. Their beliefs will blind them from the truth. And here's what I mean by that. They believe that they can just gossip all day and never actually practice their skills on the game, and that they will somehow get better at the game without ever practicing their craft. That's their beliefs. They learn the hard way that their beliefs are wrong. They believe that if they just, follow God, that God is gonna magically make everything in their life okay, magically lead them to the Holy Grail without them having to put in any work. And their belief is wrong. There is no such thing as your truth or my truth or what you believe or what I believe or what my opinion is. You have the truth. The truth is absolute. The truth doesn't contradict. If something contradicts, then it is not right. If something contradicts, then it is false. If you believe that 2 plus 2 equals 5, and that clearly contradicts because 2 plus 2 equals 4, then what you believe is a lie. The root word of belief is lie. This was not written like this by accident, as a coincidence. This was written like this intentionally on purpose because words have meanings. Words have truthful meanings that mean what they mean, not because of random coincidence or because people just randomly decided to give random words random meanings, right? The people that invented language knew exactly what it was they were doing. And while language is complicated, language can lead you to learning a lot of things if you are honest with yourself, admit when you don't know what a word means, and you fully accept what words mean and don't magically invent your own meanings for them. Now, the Chris guy I'm talking about, this was a dude that would speak 3, 4, 5 syllable words. He would try to talk about onomatopoeias and astronomical units and Pythagorean theorems and shit. But then he didn't even know what 1 syllable words mean, right? He didn't even know what the word kid meant. Because he was trying to argue that Pirate 101 is a kid's game. And keep in mind, there was like 10 people in the call, right? I'm like, there's nobody in this call that's a kid. There's nobody in Spar Chamber right now that's a kid. So how is it a kid's game? I mean, everybody in here is older than fucking 12. There's no kids around here, bro. And he's like, yeah, but in my opinion, you can be a kid at 18. And I'm like, first of all, that's not what the word kid means. If you're 18, you're an adult in most places. You're no longer a fucking kid. And if you're not an adult in those places, you're at least a teenager. Well, yeah, but that's my opinion about what the word means. So, you get into the circular logic with people where they just try to deny that the meanings of words, they try to deny basic shit. They think that their opinions and belief trump what is actually true. Now, I don't think I need to harp on this specific word any longer because I broke down the word. You guys can clearly see it for yourselves. You guys can open up a thesaurus or an actual dictionary and look up what the word lie means yourself and look up what the prefix be means yourself, and you guys can break down this simple word yourself. Instead, what I want to focus on, let's break down a more complicated word. It took me about 15 minutes of thinking to figure out how exactly I wanted to break down this word because it's a lot. I mean, it's simple. It's honestly really simple to me because I'm so used to only seeking the truth. So, fancy words don't deceive me, and they haven't for a very long time. But I have to understand that the people that are going to watch this video, they may not be on a certain level. So, again, they're going to think that they can just make up their own definitions for what words mean They think they can have beliefs and that their beliefs can never be wrong, can never be false, even though the root word of belief itself is lie. Well, then they'll then say, well, it's my religion, and my religion can't be wrong because it's what I believe, and it's the same shit. Now, the only reason I'm doing this is because I honestly get tired of being asked about it, and I get tired of explaining it. So from now on, when I get asked this question, I'm just going to link people to this video. Because people have got to understand that the truth, what is true, is opposite of what you believe. A belief is defined as a substitution for the truth, right? When people don't know something, they make up a belief. I mean, there's fish at the bottom of the ocean that was discovered, hundreds upon thousands of years ago, and because nobody had an explanation for where these things come from, people started worshiping them as deities. They made up a belief out of thin air instead of further researching the topic. Now, in 2021, we now know that these specific fish are from the bottom of the ocean. They weren't deities, they were just an unknown type of creature, you could say. There was no research about it, but instead of people trying to find out the origins, they just made up a bunch of bullshit, right? Let's break down the word religion. Because in order to learn the truth about something, you first have to admit you don't know what the truth is. You first have to admit that whatever you believe is false, and that's going to be the first step you take into learning the truth, the path of high resistance. Breaking down the word religion, you have its prefix re, its root word lig, and its suffix shun. Religion. I'm probably saying it wrong, but religion. Okay? The ION, I don't really know how to say that on its own, but religion. Prefix, suffix, root word. When I was in school, they taught us the basics of how to break a word down. I don't know if they still teach that in the curriculum anymore because I get reminded on a daily basis that the curriculum is different than from when I was in school. People don't even learn how to write in cursive anymore. It is what it is. So we're going to start off with the root word. And also, let me start up by saying this is something that I did not learn on my own. Breaking down this specific word, I had to learn from men that were wiser than me. Now, I fact checked them after the conversation, and I confirmed that what they were telling me was true. Now, a common thing that I tell people is do not use online dictionaries because online dictionaries, not only are they inaccurate, there's a lot of words that simply don't have that. There's a lot of things that just are not included in an online dictionary. Root words, prefixes, and suffixes is one of them. You'll need to buy an actual thesaurus or an actual dictionary in order to find a lot of these definitions, right? So, re is pretty. Oh, I clicked off of my picture. All right. Re is pretty self-explanatory, but the definition of the prefix re simply means repetition, or to repeat, or to go back to it again, or to mean it again. It indicates repetition. Pretty straightforward. So refinance, you're repeating a finance. You're getting supplied money usually from a bank. Okay, repeat. Say what you say again. You know, um, renew. You're reviewing. Renew a review. You're going over something again. Religion. You're repeating religion again. Now, what does religion mean? Now, lig itself has several different meanings. To lie, to bind, to rest in an incumbent position. It has several different definitions. In order to figure out which definition this root word is referring to, you have to break down the rest of the word or look at the total definition of the word itself. We'll come back to lig because lig is important. Shun, ion, or however you pronounce this by itself when it's not with a word. It simply means a process. So, if you look at the prefix and suffix, you get a process that is repeating. But what we care about is the root word, lig. Which definition is religion using when it's talking about repeating a process? If you look at the actual definition itself, the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a person or god or gods. Now, religion itself has several definitions, but the common variable you see is belief. So, the root word of belief is lie, and belief itself is defined as a substitution for the truth. Now, when it comes to more complicated matters like this, you have to use process of elimination, and you have to remember if it contradicts, it is not true. The most consistent definition of the word lig fits the thing that is most consistent is lie. Okay, you see lie in belief, and the definition of religion itself is basically the belief or the acceptance of a lie. So if we use the definition to lie with lig instead of to bind, you have the process of lying anew. Now, again, if it contradicts, it is not true. So you have to analyze a process of lying anew. Does this contradict? Now, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Again, I'm going to keep using that example because I think unless somebody has an IQ of 20, they're not going to argue or dispute that 2 plus 2 equals 4. That is a consistent truth that does not contradict. You have thousands of religions that all contradict each other, and as we broke down the word, it is a process of lying anew. Thousands of religions that all contradict, with all of them claiming to be true, but none of them can be true because they all contradict. If it contradicts, it is not true. So to lie with lig is very consistent in what religion usually applies to. Okay? Christianity, for example, and I always use Christianity as an example because being an African American, being a mixed African American man that was born and raised in Baltimore City, America, that is the religion that I know best. So that's the religion that I often use as an example, and that's the religion that most people around me follow. Christianity, for example, flat out said that, the earth is flat and that if you cross a certain point, you will fall off the face of the earth. Now, this was, 3,000 years ago. Most people believed this. Again, the root word of belief is lie. Most people believed this. There was people that challenged this thought. I think Socrates is one of them. A lot of people challenged this thought and would always argue that it's geographically impossible for the earth to be flat, it has to be a sphere. Religion executed people that taught this because it was seen as heresy, right? The process of lying anew. As technology advanced, as telescopes became more developed, and as we made airplanes over the last 2 centuries, it was proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the earth is a sphere. Now, unfortunately, you still have millions of flat earther conspiracy theorists that argue this, but the truth doesn't contradict. The earth being the sphere has no contradictions. The earth being a flat plane has many contradictions. And egotistical, prideful, narcissistic, and religious people, what you will often see them do is they will notice the contradictions and they'll try to make an excuse for every single contradiction because to challenge To challenge these contradictions would mean going against everything they've ever believed in their lives. And that is a very hard thing to do. To challenge your beliefs is taking the path of high resistance. To blindly follow your beliefs is taking the path of least resistance. My channel is all about leading people to the path of high resistance so they can gain, so that they can see everything life has to offer. Now, and the original question is, where does the path of high resistance lead? Let me finish breaking down this word and then I'm going to deliver the coup de grace. I am not here to cause a religious debate. I am not here to cause a theological debate. Religion itself means the process of lying anew. That is the most consistent. That when you break down the word like that, it's also consistent to what religion itself is defined as in the dictionary: the belief, the lie, right? You have thousands upon thousands of religions, and they all contradict. The truth never contradicts. The earth being the sphere is not found in any religion known to man. The earth being the sphere was a discovery that was made specifically by curious people that directly challenged the teachings of religion. And religion itself, the church even tried to suppress that. But in the age of enlightenment, when they realized that the truth about the earth could no longer be suppressed, religious people started trying to claim that we never said such a thing. We never said that the earth was flat. I recently saw I recently was watching an interview with the Pope where the Pope was saying that the death penalty was unholy. Keep in mind, Christians have been executing people for thousands of years for all kinds of shit, right? I mean, Joanne d'Arc, for example, a saint and a savior of France, she was executed for heresy. But I saw the Pope recently saying that, the death penalty is unholy. And this is exactly what I mean. Religion contradicts every other turn because religion is false. Like the definition of the word is saying, the process of lying anew, the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power. You see what I'm saying? And people were angry. They were in the comments. How dare the Pope say that the death penalty is unholy when they've been executing people for thousands of years? You people have to understand something. The Pope has a job. He has to say stuff like that. He has to contradict. He has to try to keep the illusion alive because that is his job. Well, guys, I will not sell anybody any illusions. Okay? I will not fucking kiss your boo-boo and tell you everything is going to be alright. I'm not going to tell people anything that's false. Okay? People can type in the comments if I'm saying anything that's wrong. They can feel free to correct me if they think I'm wrong. But the truth never contradicts. We broke down the word and then we read what the word is actually defined as itself. And it's all consistent. Lies, deception. It's all consistent with beliefs in religion and what they actually do. Now, I have one final image that I want to post on the video before I deliver the coup de grace. The last two words on the screen, jure and le jure. Pay special attention to those. Jure is a suffix that means to practice. Le jure, when you combine the two, means to practice lying. Now, why is this important? Because high priests of certain religions wear what you would call a le jure breastplate. Le jure itself is a specific stone that you will often see in religious ceremonies, and you'll often see, high-ranking priests wear this in certain religions. In fact, I'm gonna post a picture of an example. Take a look at the gentleman in the picture right here. I think this is a Jewish priest. Maybe, yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm 50% sure this is a Jewish priest. Take a look at his breastplate in the middle. It's a le jure breastplate. And it looks nice, doesn't it? It looks nice and fancy. I'm not even gonna lie, that is a nice looking uniform he has on. But focusing specifically on the context of the video, le jure, when you break the words down, we already know that lig means to lie, and we already know that jure means to practice. Again, you guys can buy your own dictionaries. You guys can look up these Latin root words, prefixes, and suffixes, and you can come to the same conclusion. The truth never contradicts. A le jure breastplate is symbolic to practice lying. Okay? I wanted to use that as an example. And, when I get into these conversations with religious people and opinionated people and people that have beliefs, they always try to dismiss me as some random fucker that doesn't know what he's talking about. I have thoroughly researched religion. I have every single topic you guys will ever see me speak about on my channel. I've either thoroughly researched it myself or I've experienced something revolved around it. There's other videos I want to make in the future, but I feel like in order for people to fully comprehend those future videos, this video had to be made first. Because a major reason people get blocked in life from the truth is because they don't know how to challenge their beliefs. They don't know how to challenge their opinions. I accepted when I was a little kid that opinions don't mean anything, that opinions are worthless. Beliefs don't mean anything, beliefs are worthless. These are just things that we are taught to matter in order to block us from the truth. Okay? This is why in school you're taught that opinions can never be wrong when opinions most certainly can be wrong. It was an opinion that the world was flat, and some people still hold that opinion. The earth is a sphere. Every astronomical object around us is a sphere. Okay? Now, the Earth could have been a special exception, but we directly proved that wrong once airplanes were invented. I mean, you can go on an airplane right now and fly around the world and you'll see the shit as a sphere. Okay? And again, religion tried to suppress this truth for thousands of years. The truth always comes out, though. Now, when the dude earlier said that the path of high resistance can actually destroy people, he's absolutely correct. I will admit that he's absolutely correct. You know, people don't get angry when you lie to them. If you lie to them and say that all you have to do is believe in the God and everything will be okay, you never have to take responsibility for your actions, you never have to worry about any problems, most people will not get angry at you for that. The minute you tell them the truth, hey, you're bad at a game, you're bad at PvP, you're slow in track, you suck at wrestling, your beliefs are false, the root word of belief is lie, they get extremely angry about that. For those of y'all that follow my Pirate 101 videos, how that whole 3v3 situation happened, I told that dude in his Discord, fuck you and fuck your God, and he's been angry about that since because I told him the truth and it hurt him. People don't get hurt over lies. People like being lied to. But the truth hurts. The truth strikes your core because it triggers your instinct. Your instinct will tell you that something is correct or that something is false, but because you so stubbornly want to believe in your beliefs and follow your opinions and follow your lies, you get angry when you see the truth. Denial is the first stage. Anger is somewhere in the middle. You have to go through both denial and anger before you go through acceptance. When I was 13 years old, my brother sat me down and told me to watch a video. I'm like, I don't want to watch a fucking video, And he's like, watch the video, because I was playing Final Fantasy Tactics. I didn't, I don't talk to my brother, and I didn't back then. So I really didn't want to hear what the fuck he was saying. But I got to thank him for this. If he ever, I got to thank him for this because that video opened my eyes. Now, everything in the video was wrong, but it got me to think. It got me to seek the truth because I wanted to know more. And as I learned that video was false, I began to learn what was actually true. So, And yeah, I was pretty angry. I'm just like, damn, everything I know was a lie, but I liked it. I'm like, okay, now I can start learning what is actually true. And I've been on that path ever since. And when I came to these video games, it allowed me to be a top player in most of them. Because it applies to everything you do in life, man. You want to be a successful businessman, you got to learn the truth about how to be a successful businessman. You want to be good at video games, you got to learn the truth as to how to be good at video games. The American dream is to be a rich guy like Trump through capitalism. But because people cannot abandon their beliefs, what happens is they go into failed business endeavors and go into debt for the rest of their life. A lot of people try to do this through college. They think that college is going to make them rich, when all college really does is put them in debt forever, you know? And they have been taught to believe that you need to go to college or you're going to be a homeless bum. I succumbed to this belief when I was 17. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life, so I went to college for a year. And I had to stop going because I realized that not only were all the people around me stupid, but I could go further than this. Like I'm learning crap. You know what I'm saying? And now, I'm good now. No college. I'm good now. You feel me? So, let's conclude this video. It's about 20 minutes longer than I intended it to be, but topics like this you cannot you cannot answer quickly or information will be missed. The dude asked, where does the path of high resistance lead? Now, I cannot directly answer that in a YouTube video because that would just wouldn't be a good idea. What I will say is this. My last couple of videos, not including the Pirate 101 drama videos, I mean, nobody watches those anyways, right? Pirate 101's a dead game. But I think I've done a good job breaking down as to how the path of least resistance, following your beliefs, sticking to your beliefs, and sticking to your opinions, that just leads to a path of lies. I made a video called You Don't Attract What You Want, You Attract What You Are. I'll also put that in the description below. You know what I'm saying? If you take the path of least resistance and you think beliefs trump the truth, you think opinions trump the truth, what's going to happen is you're going to attract more people around you that think the same way you do. And it'll just be a bunch of blind people leading the blind, like the conversation you guys saw earlier in the video. You're going to see the blind leading the blind, and then they're going to get into video games and try to challenge players that aren't blind, and they're going to get completely slaughtered, like my previous 3v3 video. So if you take the path of least resistance, destruction awaits you. You're going to go down a path of lies, you're going to go down a path of beliefs, you're going to go down a path of opinions. You will have many questions that will never be answered truthfully, and you're going to live through life wondering why things are so complicated. You're going to walk through life confused and not know anything. You're going to try to lie to yourself and say none of this matters in the end. I had a conversation with my mom and stepfather the other day, and they admitted that they don't see a point in learning information that doesn't help them right now. And then I replied, all of this stuff matters. You think it doesn't help you right now because you're blind and you can't see it. Their beliefs blind them. I ended the conversation there. There was no point in continuing. Now, the upper path and the lower path, opposite ends of the same spectrum, essentially. Taking the path of high resistance, while it is not too late for it to matter to you, it will be a difficult path. However, where does it lead? It leads to the truth. If you stick with the path, it leads you to the truth, and it keeps you away from lies. It's not an easy path. It is a very hard path. It is a path that can lead you to destruction as well if you cannot handle it. Hell, even me making this video, this was not easy for me to make. It took a lot of time out of my day, and it probably is going to be poorly received. And honestly, it's probably not going to do me any favors. You know, I could get myself in a lot of trouble making a video like this, but purpose of my channel is to guide people to the path of high resistance, you know. So, you know, if it only helps a few people, then I've done my job well. And I've had people message me in private thanking me for the recent videos I have been making, so I know I'm at least reaching some people. But that being said, I think I've said all I needed to say here. The path of high resistance leads to the truth. The path of least resistance leads to lies. Now, the truth can help you, and the truth can set you free. People are really on a time limit, because if you learn the truth later on in life, when it is too late for it to matter to you, when it is too late for it to help you, then it's really no different than you following the path of least resistance. You delayed taking the upper path to the point where it can no longer help you. This is why I kind of try to target a young audience with my videos, because they can still be helped for the most part. A lot of older people that may watch this, that are like 70 and 80, it's too late for them. It's like, okay, cool. It's cool you decided to finally learn the truth now, but it's too late. It can't help you anymore. So that being said, I'm going to end the video. So it's a long ass fucking video, but... And I'm expecting a lot of dislikes. I'm expecting a lot of religious people specifically to get angry at me, unsubscribe, oh fuck you man, you're a heretic. That's cool. I'll be a heretic. I'll be a heretic that understands the truth and the laws of the world around me. So, that being said, peace.